Hi everyone. It's been about a month now since we got the news that actor Robert Redford passed away. When I got that news, I was actually just preparing to go on vacation. But definitely it's something that I want to acknowledge, so I do just want to do this video to talk about him. Before I get into talking about his movies, let's just talk sexiness for a moment. So back in the 80s and 90s, I used to get the Empire magazine in the UK, and quite often it would come with some supplements. And here we have a couple of supplements from 1997 and 1998. 1997, Robert Redford is still considered the 57th sexiest man in the movies. In 1998, he was still on the top 100, but yeah, just getting towards the back of that top 100 and behind Andy Garcia at that time, but still ahead of Bruce Willis. But interestingly, Empire also did a supplement about actors who had attitude. And so this includes a number of Robert Redford's peers, but interestingly, not Robert Redford himself. So we do have Marlon Brando in here, Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, Bruce Willis even, Robert Mitchum, John Malkovich, Nicolas Cage, James Dean, Al Pacino, Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson and Gerard Depardieu. But yeah, no Robert Redford. So sexy, yes. Attitude, no. And really, when you perhaps think about the career of Robert Redford, perhaps one of the actors that he most closely resembles is maybe Warren Beatty, I think. Both of these are actors who have principles. They are generally quite quiet-mannered. They are interested in politics. And yeah, so their careers in some ways follow similar paths. And on that note, just to emphasize my point, think for a moment about Tennessee Williams and movies that have been adapted from Tennessee Williams plays. So again, most likely, if you're going to be thinking about Tennessee Williams adaptations, you're going to be thinking of the actors with attitude. So we've got Marlon Brando in Streetcar Named Desire. We've got Paul Newman in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Sweet Bird of Youth. There's Richard Burton in Night of the Iguana. But maybe you're not going to really think so much of Robert Redford in This Property is Condemned, or Warren Beatty even in The Roman Spring of Mrs. Stone. Anyway, that's just a starting point for this video. Make of that what you will. So I'm just going to run through the movies that I have in my collection and touch upon the ones which are significant to me. Now, I don't have his very first feature, War Hunt from 1962, but that was a significant one because he did get to act alongside Sidney Pollack. So in an acting role there, but Sidney Pollack was later to direct Robert Redford in 7 feature films. But the first one I do have is this one from 1965, and it's Inside Daisy Clover, which mainly starred Natalie Wood here. This film is a little bit of a mess, I have to say, but yeah, Robert Redford did get noticed for his performance in this one. He has a sort of bisexual role in this. It's he's very good in it, but yeah, this is, like I say, quite a bit of a mess of a movie. But again, this is also significant in that it was produced by Alan J. Pakula, who Robert Redford most definitely worked closely with later on in the 70s. Next, from 1966, another film that's a little bit of a mess, but it is a really interesting one, The Chase, 1966, and adapted from a Horton Foote novel. But yeah, really it's Marlon Brando who steals the movie in this one. But yeah, Robert Redford plays this character of Bubba Reeves, and his character is certainly spoken of throughout the movie. He's a focal point of the movie, but Redford himself actually only appears really in the beginning and the end of the movie. So really it is Marlon Brando taking centre stage, and a great performance as well from Jane Fonda. So this was the first time that Redford and Fonda acted together, and they were to reunite just the next year in the wonderful Barefoot in the Park, which was adapted from the Neil Simon play. That's a film that I certainly watched on TV when I was younger, but I don't have a copy of it in my collection. And then, of course, in 1969, the movie that really launched his career, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, written by William Goldman, directed by George Roy Hill, and putting him alongside Paul Newman. Just an absolutely tremendous movie, this. Also co-starring Catherine Ross. Yeah, love this Laserdisc edition I've got here. It's a really nice one. Absolutely tremendous film, and absolutely one that was on TV loads when I was younger, so watched this multiple times. Now, annoyingly, next three movies I don't have in my collection, but certainly one of them, Downhill Racer from 1969, that is a film which I think is absolutely fantastic. But Robert Redford plays a really cold, narcissistic character in this one, so very focused on his skiing in this. But yeah, such a cold character. It's a really interesting performance, and also a really interesting performance from Gene Hackman, who's much more subdued than you would expect him to be as Robert Redford's trainer in that film. Really interesting film, and also the first time that Robert Redford worked with director Michael Ritchie. They were to work together again a bit later. Then also in 1969, again, I haven't seen this for a long time, but it is the film Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here. And that's a really amazing movie in that director Abraham Polonsky had not made a film since 1948's Force of Evil, starring John Garfield. So huge gap for him before he was able to make this movie. But yeah, from what I remember, interesting movie. I've just not been able to see it for a long time. And then another one I've really wanted to find, I don't have it, is Little Fouse and Big Halsey. So maybe if you're familiar with my channel, you've heard me talk about movies from Sidney J. Furie before. So Little Fouse and Big Halsey is on a set that's been put out by Imprint, but it's a pretty pricey one, so I haven't been able to get hold of that. But yeah, definitely a film I want to watch at some stage. It co-stars Michael J. Pollard. Next, though, from 1972, I do have this one, The Hot Rock. This is a fun heist movie. Really good cast here. George Segal, the excellent Ron Liebman as well, who I think is such an underrated actor. I absolutely love his performance in Norma Ray, opposite Sally Field. But yeah, this was a fun one for Redford, a good performance from him, directed by Peter Yates as well, who also directed Bullet. But yeah, really fun movie. Then 1972, really excellent one this, and Robert Redford's first collaboration with director Sidney Pollack, Jeremiah Johnson, set in the 1800s. This is written by John Milius, and it has Redford as a man who heads off into the Rocky Mountains wanting to just live by himself and be a survivor there, but he encounters Indians and has various survival battles to face. But yeah, really excellent movie, this one. I really love it. Okay, I knew I'd made a mistake. I actually missed a movie when I jumped from The Chase to talking about Barefoot in the Park. So let's just rewind to 1974, and This Property is Condemned. So yeah, this is a Tennessee Williams adaptation that actually got a script adaptation by Francis Ford Coppola. But yeah, the second time that Robert Redford works with Natalie Wood after Inside Daisy Clover, and this time the combination of the two of them really, really works well. I think this is Natalie Wood's best film role. I think she's absolutely gorgeous in this, and a really stunning performance. And Robert Redford playing this guy that works for the railroad who's come to this town to lay off the workers, and falls for this wild Natalie Wood whilst he's there. Yeah, it's a really, really great role for him, and yeah, I absolutely love this film. I think it's really, really good. Quite underseen or underappreciated in the context of other Tennessee Williams works. Like I say, it's really movies such as Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or Streetcar Named Desire that tend to get a lot of attention, but yeah, this is a great one. Okay, back to 1972 after Jeremiah Johnson, and here we have Robert Redford working with director Michael Ritchie again. So Michael Ritchie had directed him in Downhill Racer, but yeah, this is a really excellent movie about a satire really about being a presidential candidate, and really a commentary on America. But Michael Ritchie directs this one in a absolutely brilliant documentary type style, and really terrific performance from Robert Redford in this, and Peter Boyle as well. And really, when it comes to Michael Ritchie, I think use this film as a companion piece, Smile, which is about cheerleaders, but again done in a very sort of documentary style. Both of these films together work really well. But yeah, The Candidate, great movie. The Way We Were in 1973, another collaboration with director Sidney Pollack, and this one has him starring alongside Barbara Streisand. Now this one, it is a romance, and it is a commentary about social situations in America, but it's lacks a bit of bite, I guess. The characters aren't all that well defined, really, and really this one is memorable for the theme song that is sung by Barbra Streisand. Perfectly likeable movie, but yeah, perhaps not one of my favourites, but yeah, decent one nonetheless. Now, 1973, of course, back with Paul Newman in the really famous The Sting, with Robert Shaw and that really famous music as well by Scott Joplin. Now, I have mixed feelings about this one. Definitely when I was younger, I wasn't all that keen on it. Definitely I much preferred to just watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid over and over rather than this. But definitely over the years, I have come to like this one a hell of a lot more. I do really enjoy it nowadays. But yeah, great movie. 1974, an adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, in which he stars alongside Mia Farrow and directed by Jack Clayton. And again, with some script work on this one by Francis Ford Coppola. Obviously, Leonardo DiCaprio was to take on the role again much later, so if you don't fancy your movie with lots of editing and fast cuts, then come back to Robert Redford's performance. Now, 1975. Now, this is a really good movie, directed by George Roy Hill, who had directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. This is a terrific movie. I did do a video a while back when Mission Impossible Final Reckoning came out. I did a video on the best movies featuring biplanes, and this certainly is at the top of that list. So, yeah, there's some incredible stunt work in this and stunt flying. Bo Svensson also starring in this, as well as the gorgeous Margot Kidder. I really loved Margot Kidder in the 70s around this time. She was also in a movie, Quacks of Fortune, alongside Gene Wilder. But yeah, she's lovely in this. And I think there's, who else is it? Susan Sarandon, of course, as well in this movie. But yeah, terrific stuff. And then as we get to the end of 1975 and into 1976, we have the two movies which probably I've seen the most times starring Robert Redford. First up, we have the excellent 3 Days of the Condor alongside Faye Dunaway and also starring Max von Sydow, a conspiracy thriller that is just really thrilling, really exciting to watch. Absolutely love this movie. Great. And then, of course, 1976. Now, remember when I mentioned Inside Daisy Clover being produced by Alan J. Pakula? Well, fast forward, and now we have Alan J. Pakula directing All the President's Men. This was a project that really Robert Redford helped to put together and get it made. And it's just one of the all-time great movies, so tense and exciting, looking at the Watergate scandal and just this brilliant partnership here between Redford and Dustin Hoffman. It's incredibly tense, it's incredibly thrilling, just hugely influential as well. Yeah, absolutely fantastic movie. 1977, though, it's Spot the Star when we have Richard Attenborough doing his epic World War II drama, A Bridge Too Far. Just look at all the stars we have in this movie. I think Robert Redford's just down here. But yeah, we've got Sean Connery, James Caan, Elliot Gould, Ryan O'Neal, Anthony Hopkins, just loads and loads of stars in this movie. And I think, here we go, there's Redford. You can just see him there. But yeah, again, Bridge Too Far, another huge epic that was on TV a lot when I was younger, so definitely watched this loads of times. This and The Longest Day, those are the two sort of big epic World War II movies with multiple stars in them. So yeah, they're enjoyable Sunday afternoon watches. So he did take a little bit of a break after that, but came back before the 70s had concluded with this one, The Electric Horseman, directed again by Sidney Pollack, and again getting to star with Jane Fonda. And it's a really nice and touching relationship that they have in this film. So Jane Fonda playing a journalist and Redford playing a rodeo star, a sort of has-been rodeo star who's just resigned to advertising cereals, and so he just decides one day to take his rather drugged up horse and just head off into the wilderness, and Jane Fonda follows him. But yeah, really quite a slow movie, this one, but just a really enjoyable one to watch. I really like this one. Then 1980, this is a really good one, Brubaker, so a prison set drama. And it's interesting that sort of kind of around this similar kind of time, you've got Paul Newman, he's making Fort Apache, The Bronx, and Clint Eastwood's making Escape from Alcatraz. So yeah, these are sort of movies that all look at crime and justice and the criminal system. But yeah, Brubaker, another great performance from Robert Redford. And then when we get into the 80s, Robert Redford's characters become kind of mythical in status. And so 1984's The Natural, in which he plays the baseball player Roy Hobbs. Again, this really has a magical quality to it, directed by Barry Levinson. Just some tremendous moments in this. Yeah, great movie. And then 1985, another one that I'm particularly fond of, again directed by Sidney Pollack and starring alongside Meryl Streep, who's playing Karen Blixen. This is Out of Africa. So I have been to Africa. I know where Karen Blixen's farm is. But yeah, I just find this one a really touching movie. It's a really sweeping epic looking at Africa. And Redford's character, again, quite a sort of mythical one here, playing Dennis Finch Hatton. And he has this sort of emotional ending where his character is killed and he's buried on top of a sort of mountaintop where lions come to sit on his grave. That's allegedly true, but yeah, this is a movie. But yeah, I really find this one quite an emotional watch. I absolutely love it. Legal Eagles in 1986 is one I did see at the cinema. Not a great movie. I don't have it in my collection. And then also 1990s Havana, again directed by Sidney Pollack, kind of trying to create the similar kind of impression as a movie like Casablanca, I suppose. I did see this one at the cinema. I have got this Laserdisc, but I haven't actually rewatched it in a long time. But yeah, starring alongside Lena Olin. This wasn't a great movie as I remember, but still, I do want to actually give it a rewatch. Sneakers in 1992. This one sneaks up on you, really. This is a fun movie directed by Phil Alden Robinson, who had directed Field of Dreams. Really nice cast here that includes Ben Kingsley and Dan Aykroyd. But yeah, it's a kind of heist movie, very comedic in tone. But yeah, enjoyable watch. And then 1992's A River Runs Through It, so Redford directs this one, but he also narrates it as well, and his voice is very soothing in this. But yeah, so here we get Brad Pitt really starring in this one, and we're getting into this sort of 90s period now where it feels like Robert Redford's handing over the reins, if you like, to the new breed of handsome actors. So yeah, I think Brad Pitt does really well in this, but yeah, I just really like this one. I think it's a great watch. Now, 1993, and I rewatched this just the other day and absolutely love it now. I'm not sure I loved it quite as much when it came out at the cinema. There was certainly quite a lot of fuss around this one. So Robert Redford playing this sort of multi-millionaire who has a sort of wager, if you like, with this young couple who are short of money, played by Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson, basically saying, I'll offer you $1 million if you let me have one night with your wife. So yeah, there was a lot of contentiousness around this back in the 90s, a lot of scandal and people having their opinions on it, both in terms of what they would actually do, but also getting into this kind of slightly ageist remarks where, you know, there's an age gap between Redford and Demi Moore, and so people were sort of noticing his age a little bit more, I suppose. But yeah, now you watch this movie now and Redford is just so cool in this movie. I mean, it's absolutely a movie. It's quite ridiculous, but yeah, brilliantly directed by Adrian Lyne. Really good fun. 1996, it is good to see Michelle Pfeiffer on screen with Robert Redford in this one, Up Close and Personal, directed by John Avnet. But it's not entirely successful, not a great movie, but watchable nonetheless. The Horse Whisperer in 1998, I don't have that one in my collection. I did see that quite some time ago. He directs it as well, and also starring Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, pretty nice movie, but not one I have strong recollection of. In 2001, we've got The Last Castle, co-starring James Gandolfini, and an early role for Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, this is another sort of prison set drama that does get a bit ridiculous, it has to be said, but it's an entertaining movie, just not very plausible. And also in 2001 for director Tony Scott, we've got Robert Redford and Brad Pitt in Spy Game. Now, Redford definitely commands this film. I mean, Brad Pitt had been in a number of big movies by this point, including Seven, but he definitely doesn't feel as though he's the more experienced actor in this one. It's definitely the coolness of Robert Redford that commands this film. Yeah, not one of Tony Scott's greatest, but it is a good movie. The Clearing from 2004, must admit I haven't got a strong recollection of this one. I didn't particularly love it, but I will give it a rewatch. So I am going to jump forward to 2013 now, and this movie, All Is Lost. I think this movie is absolutely terrific. So the film is just Robert Redford. So he's stranded in this boat in the middle of the ocean and then has to figure out how he's going to survive. So it's mostly non-verbal, and it's really just the film centering on Redford's face and how he's going to deal with situations. Absolutely terrific performance. If you perhaps compare this with, say, Castaway starring Tom Hanks. Now, I love Tom Hanks as an actor. I think he's hugely entertaining to watch, but I can't imagine Tom Hanks being able to do a role like this. So again, it's Robert Redford's sort of calmness and measuredness that enables him to really get through this film. But yeah, terrific one. In 2014, he does take a small role in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and really that's just to sort of dip his toes into the modern movie environment. So, yeah, fair enough. Now, this one I do like, A Walk in the Woods from 2015, adapted from the Bill Bryson novel, co-starring Nick Nolte. Now, nothing against Bill Bryson or anything, but I'm sure when he heard that his novel was being adapted and wondering who might get to play him, it might have been a bit of wishful thinking to think that Robert Redford would be cast, but there you go. But yeah, this is an entertaining one. I do like it. And in 2016, a kind of interesting one for Disney is that David Lowery remade Pete's Dragon, and Robert Redford starred in this one. But yeah, this is significant for Robert Redford first getting to work with director David Lowery. In 2017, a movie I don't have in my collection, but yeah, nice to see Robert Redford starring alongside Jane Fonda again in the movie. Have to be careful how you say it, don't say it too fast. Our Souls at Night. So that was on Netflix. And then really, Robert Redford announced that this film would be his final starring role, and that was The Old Man and the Gun, and this reunited him with director David Lowery. I absolutely love this movie, and in fact I think partner it up with this one, The Grey Fox, starring Richard Farnsworth. In a way, these films are a little bit similar, so they're both featuring criminals, outlaws, who don't wish to move with the times and they just want to go back to their old ways. And both of those movies as well feature, actors, and in Richard Farnsworth's case, a former stuntman, who can draw on their acting history to actually incorporate some of that into the movie itself. So in this case with Redford, you do get to see some of his previous sort of roles that are incorporated into the movie, just the same as you do with Robert Farnsworth in The Grey Fox. So yeah, this is just really charming movie, great final lead performance from Robert Redford, and stunning in his scenes with Sissy Spacek. They are just terrific together, and Casey Affleck in this as well. So yeah, I really love this film. But yes, although that was his final lead role, he did also appear in Avengers Endgame briefly. I mean, really just an incredible film career that he's had. And I haven't even touched on his producing or all the work that he'd done for Sundance, anything like that. But of course, I do have to mention just some of the movies that he directed, and definitely have to mention Ordinary People from 1980, which won him an Oscar, famously beating Martin Scorsese, who was up for Raging Bull. But yeah, this movie I think is just terrific, really emotional, such tremendous performances from Mary Tyler Moore, Donald Sutherland and Timothy Hutton, Judd Hirsch as well. I've watched this one several times and it always kind of gets me. I think it's absolutely terrific. And then you might think that Martin Scorsese had sour grapes for losing out to Robert Redford on Ordinary People. Yet when Robert Redford came back in 1994 to direct Quiz Show. Martin Scorsese actually features in this movie. Yeah, a great role here for Ralph Fiennes, who had just come off doing Schindler's List. But again, Robert Redford just gets such a great ensemble cast, so all of the performances in this are really strong. You've got John Turturro as Herb Stempel, this kind of nerdy guy who had lost out at quizzes, being booted off the show. And then we've got Rob Morrow, yeah, and also the great Paul Scofield. He manages to be in this film as well. So yeah, this is a really terrific film. And in between that, this is an interesting one. Haven't watched it for a while now, but yeah, the Milagro Beanfield War, really good performance from Ruben Blades in this. But there you go, impossible to do proper justice to the full career of Robert Redford, so I've really whizzed through some of his films there, but yeah, quite a number of those which I just think are pretty special. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and comments. I know I've not mentioned every film there, because there are some which I don't have, but yeah, let me know which films are particularly meaningful to you. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope I'll see you again. All the best. Bye-bye.